The main issue here is 42A. The proposed alignment is over here. What we are looking at is we are asking Prasarana to reconsider going down this way, shift it across over here. As you can see, this is where the MRT is coming up. This is where the proposed is. Our main justification is that from the point of view of synergy or integration of station, it makes better sense for this to go over here. That is the point that we have informed them. Now, as far as the station position is concerned, this is the row of houses at 42A, and this is where the earlier proposed, as Panolia mentioned, this is a proposed alignment. So we have to go on the basis that it is not cast on stone, and there is still a possibility of this being shifted elsewhere. Likewise, this one be shifted over here. But our main concern is, of course, this point here, ridership will be very high. If you're going to have a station over here, this is the main station, it will certainly have an impact of the houses over here. Not indirect, but definitely it's a direct impact. The Road 13 main part will be certainly, we have a concern, even if the station is going to be here, would there be access from Road 13 joining here? Because as it is, Road 13 is a very narrow path. So there's always a concern, there's a main concern of the residents over there. Now this is to show exactly. So once it transfers the river itself, of course, but it is reassuring to have Panolia mentioned just now, even if they were to use this alignment, they have to make sure they comply with numerous requirements that is set and to ensure the river is alive again. But of course, what we are asking for, perhaps don't go to the river, try to look at another place. That is a consideration. Now, likewise, the issue that we have is not so much with Prasarana, but the consultant's report. There are too many errors, too many omissions. The report did not mention about 42A, it mentioned about 42. So the question is, the report keeps on testing on SS 42A. 42A is over here, this side. So it's a different station altogether. 42, basically, it faces the MRT1 as currently going on. That's about 20 meters from the LDP. So we are not sure, was it a situation where the consultant just missed out the row of houses here, or they were chasing for a deadline? We're not sure about that. Okay, this is the current, this is taken yesterday afternoon. The proposed LRT will be right above here at the river. If you can see here, this is the MRT currently going on. So you're talking about less than 5 to 10 meters away over here. Again, it's a proposed, it could go over here, it could go hopefully on the other side. Okay, so now if you look at what you have currently, this is the BUCC development right across the river. 2 towers of hotel and office complex coming up. We are not sure how many floors, but I'm sure it'll be more than 20 plus floors. So the station is going to be on this side, the proposed station. So we are suggesting move it away from here, put it in front of UCC instead of here. Now, one of the residents have measured, this is from his boundary. You can see that that's not a snake, there's a measuring tape. Okay? So, as you can see, it is 26 feet. That's where the boundary is, exactly where the boundary, if you look at here, that is the boundary between the houses and the boundary where it belongs to where the development can take place over here. So it's very short boundary over here. This is to show. So you have here, this is the boundary. Right across here is the river. This is already at the reserve park, and across the development over here. So it's too close for comfort. And this is where the boundary is. So it is just about 12 feet. About 26 feet from the house, as you can see. That is the distance. Now, our main concern always has been non-consultation with the residents of Damansara Utama. All the report that was done by the consultant kept on referring to various stakeholders related to Kampung Kayu Aro, related to Bandar Utama. However, none whatsoever with Damansara Utama. So again, this is a big concern because the direct effect will be people, residents of that area. So what we have done here is we have pointed out in the EA report the discrepancy where the report have not taken into account the views of SS21 residents. There are several places here, it's just too many to go on. And if I can just go on, this is the original 3 options that was discussed. Now this option affects a large number of residents in Damansara Utama, especially over here, but obviously there was no consultation of those residents over there. So again, when the proposed alignment was put up, there was no discussion with any of the residents about here. There were discussions about where the alignment would be, how it's going to take place, but sadly we were excluded. Now, again, we have a figure here, Damansara Utama, 80,000 plus ridership. It's supposed to cover Bandar Utama, Damansara Utama. However, since the residents were not consulted, not surveyed, we're not sure whether this figure is is a very subjective figure or not. Again, perception. Here, from the volume perception, Damansara Utama was missing out completely. So the perception was not mentioned at all. It was only in these 2 categories, Bandar Utama and Kampung Kayu Ara. So there was no perception survey done with the Damansara Utama residents. So it goes on and on. It's just too many of mention about this is the negative perception. They mention about the residents at Kampung Kayu Ara, the residents in Bandar Utama. However, again, Damansara Utama was left out. So no point of repeating the same thing, but what we have done is we are showing exactly all the report we're supposed to have at least some involvement of Damansara Utama, which was left out. We'll be more than happy to, we're going to share this with Pasarana so they are aware. So if you look at this, 42 and 42A is 2 different parts altogether. This is where it faces 42. 42 is where you see the MRT line coming up over here. And this one is where 42A, facing this way. So it's 2 different roads altogether. So is it a situation where the A was missing? We're not sure. Okay? So again, all the report makes reference to 42, when it actually has no bearing whatsoever. Because this one, if they're going to do this, of course it's going to do at 42A, at the back of 42A, not 42. So likewise, or even the construction access road, they talk about access to 42, but nothing to do with 42A. So again, same thing. And here, same thing, in terms of noise residual, 42 was mentioned, 42A was not. And another glaring mistake, this area is actually a residential area, but it's been the description given here is commercial. 42, 28, 13 is actually residential neighborhood, nothing to do with commercial. Whether this have an impact with noise level, of course commercial can bear higher level of noise compared to residential. We need to sleep. Unless you see in an office, that's different. We're staying at home. So traffic issues, again, a lot of traffic issues. Unfortunately, our concern is there are just too many of traffic issues which needs to be looked at Prasarana. So the traffic issues, just too many of them. This is issue relating to integration. We are saying that, look, even the experts are saying they should integrate rather than separate. So why build near 42 instead of Pasaran Bandar Utama? But bear in mind, what Nolia has mentioned earlier in her slide, there is still a possibility of this happening. So we hope that will take place. Okay, so environmental, same thing. It makes reference to commercial, but unfortunately this is not the case. Pre-construction. Okay, this is a big question mark. If we're going to have the station at 42A with the distance of less than 26 feet, would there be an issue about acquisition of the houses along 42A? That is what we need, we are hopeful that Prasarana will be able to give us a more informed answer as far as this part is concerned. But there's a big question mark on that. This is again the report about integration, the lack of integration of the station. This is article about funding, about groundbreaking lines stated to be late third, early. To us, it looks like, as Puan Lola mentioned, they already have a timeline. We just hope that the timeline will not kick off without the concern of you is taken into account. Now, what we have done so far on behalf of the association, we have engaged Prasarana several locations. As I mentioned, and I have to admit, they are very proactive. It's not a situation where you call them, they take them 1 week to come back to you. They come back almost immediately, so that is a plus point, and obviously that speaks volume for them. What we have done, we have sent them a formal letter. This copy of this letter is at the back, you can have a look at that. We have also pointed out the options, the 3 options that is available, and of course, Panolia has mentioned, one of the options was reconsider coming back to at the back of Jalan Masjid, or this Jalan Lima over here, which is, as she mentioned earlier, traffic will be an issue. Option 2 is, if the government has problem of funding, let's stop the LRT3 in Kelana Jaya instead of going all the way to Bandar Utama, and then they can connect using the LRT line that goes to Pasar Seni to come up here. Of course, it's longer. This station will be missing, but that will be a consideration to reduce costs. Each station 1 billion, 4 stations 4 billion less. Okay, option 3, which Puan Olia has mentioned, what we are proposing from Linho to go direct to Kota Damansara. So they need to look at this 3.5, how to maximize this alignment over here. Those are the 3 options mentioned. What we have done so far, we had this meeting on the 26th. The turnout was quite good, about nearly 200 people. It was reported in the news. And we also have sent out flyers to residents. What we need residents to do is basically 3 things. Number 1, to go to the website of LRT3, that is called www.lrt3.com.my. You will have the flyers, you will see that. Put up your feedback. Your feedback is important because they need to know that is this whole idea of 3 months period, so you can tell them what are your thoughts about the alignment. That's the first part. Second, we have put up a petition requesting Prasarana to reconsider alignment. More than 800 plus already signed the petition. Those who have not signed today, the petition is at the back. Please do us a favor, sign up, and also sign up your attendance today. Third is to be actively engaged with us, with our elected representative YB Kwa and YB Yo, together with Prasarana, because that is the only way we can assure that our voice will be heard. Okay, so those are 3 things that we are doing at the moment. This is the petition at the back. What are we looking at? This is the question that the residents, I'm just putting in a summary. Is there any possibility of acquisition? Based on report, it will be done this year. So if that is the case, is this a final? Panola already mentioned it's not the case. Likewise here, also it's not the case, so we hope that is the current position. No consultation, yes, they already admitted it was missed out, but that is why they are ensuring that the consultation is done throughout with us, thoroughly with us. Okay? What do we want? Hear our voices, realign the proposed alignment away from Kampung Sungai Kayu Ara. What are the valid points? Full advice from the residents. We will build a track and station along river, high risk of course overrun, soft soil, high risk of delay, frequent unpredictable torrential rain and storm, relatively difficult with maintenance during operation, realign to solid ground, minimize this cost impact on LRT3 project. Okay, we have no consultant, but we hope this will be taken into account.
Yes.
Okay, so thank you very much.